Alright, so when we're talking about the gaming community in this podcast, we like to focus on events and products and positive things and interesting things, but every so often a story breaks with an individual in the gaming community and it's, so huge that you really can't ignore it. And we were actually out of the loop on this particular story. We've been busy the past few days working on things for our other channel, but I was contacted by someone asking me if I had heard about the controversy surrounding PewDiePie and the Wall Street Journal. It's like, that's two names you wouldn't expect to hear hear that they are in connection with one another. Doesn't seem like they would have too much in common, but apparently the Wall Street Journal had published an article accusing PewDiePie of being anti-Semitic or having Nazi humor, and then the entire thing just spiraled out of control with many people online saying he is an actual Nazi, he is an anti-Semite, and it escalated to the point where I think he has a show actually on, it might be on YouTube Red, but he has a show and Google actually ended up canceling I don't know if it was the second season, I think it was, I don't really follow the show, but they apparently canceled his show, and he also was apparently in a business relationship with Disney, and they severed ties with him as well. And he actually made a video about this addressing what was going on, and the thing is, immediately in this day and age, anytime you hear someone being accused of being a Nazi or being an anti-Semite, a red flag immediately has to go up in your mind, because you have to think, well, is this an actual case of somebody being, the type of idiot? And there are people out there who actually support that ideology, support what those people did. They actually praise those people for it. So there are very, very misguided, bad people who support that. So you have to think, is this what we're referring to, or are we just using this word to create a clickbait headline, grab some easy views, demonize some people, and try to get ourselves some attention? But apparently it all stems from a few separate instances on his channel. One, apparently, where he had, I think the website is Fiverr, is that what it's called?
Fiverr, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it's a website where people will do anything for $5, and the entire question of that was, would they really do anything? And in order to test this, apparently he had them hold up a banner that said "Death to all Jews," and obviously he apologized for that, because in his mind, from what he said, he never thought they would do it. That was the whole thing. He was trying to say, well, this is too over the top, they would never do this. But he apologized for this in his video, and apparently he had also at one time on his channel featured some content of a Hitler speech and of himself dressed up as a Nazi watching it, and apparently that was actually done in parody. He was parodying, I can't even remember the name of the group or the organization he was parodying. It might have been somebody who had said something about him in the past, but the point was, he wasn't just chilling in a Nazi uniform watching Hitler speeches because, that's his thing.
Right, exactly.
But it is kind of being put out there in that manner, or it was, by the Wall Street Journal and a lot of other similar big, well-known sites who came to their defense and everything, because as soon as this happened, the internet came at the Wall Street Journal and these publications like a swarm of bees. And I think that's really the best way to describe the internet these days and this world of decentralized communication we find ourselves in, because you have this situation now where news and communication is becoming more decentralized, because we have the ability to communicate, and everybody has the ability to communicate and put out information and to make it known whether they approve of something or whether they disapprove. But unfortunately, what we've been seeing, especially just over the past couple of years, is a lot of big media and news corporations and groups saying a lot of things that are kind of half-truths, that are misleading, and in a lot of cases are fraudulent. And this sounds very familiar because we put out the video, we talked about the entire deal with CNN and the screenshot and the report and all that. And, we kind of talked about, and even in that case, we defended them. We said, well, maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe they didn't know, exactly what the screenshot was and this and that. In this case, I think you have to take it a bit more seriously because, like I said, there are people out there who support the Nazis, terrible people who wear these symbols, who promote, this ideology. And then there are people who say things related to it. They maybe make an off-color joke, but that doesn't make someone a follower of that ideology. And I think to push that it does is not only misleading and fraudulent, but incredibly, incredibly irresponsible.
I think it's just, can you really just, can you not find any better stories? I mean, why do you have to come after PewDiePie? I mean, granted, I think it's probably I don't know if it's out of jealousy. I'm not going to say that it is, but, it could be. I mean, this guy, he makes $4 million a year,
Right.
doing YouTube videos. And there's a lot of people that are not happy about that. They feel that us YouTubers, all we do is just sit around, make a video, and upload it. That's all that we do. But they don't really understand, if they're not a YouTuber that themselves, it's more to that. There's a bigger process than that. You actually have to put work in. Your content has to be good to gain followers, to gain, subs, and
Right.
gain views. And PewDiePie, he's self-made.
Yeah, he absolutely
He's worked
is.
hard. He worked hard at it, and now they're attacking him over something that I think is just outrageous. I mean, the Wall Street Journal, like he was talking about during his, response video, they took a picture of him, like, holding up his arm and saying that, look, they say that that's him, like, supporting the Nazis or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they know what they're doing when they set up these headlines in these articles. They're piecing together small pieces of information that form one giant half-truth, and that's a great example of it, because even as we're recording this, I'm thinking, oh my god, I said red flag at the start of this video. Now they're going to say, oh, somebody makes a video defending PewDiePie and he's talking about a red flag. That must mean he's a Nazi too.
Right.
Everybody who disagrees with us is a Nazi, and it's like, that's incredibly irresponsible. And that's one of the things that I think people are really starting to call out these major publications for. They're starting to, get really upset when these publications blow things out of proportion and deliberately mislead people. And this can really ruin people's lives. And like we were talking about, before anyone says, oh, you guys do a gaming channel, you're just supporting PewDiePie because he's a gamer. So I don't really follow PewDiePie stuff. I mean, I don't know about you, but like,
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that we're super huge fans of PewDiePie or even casual viewers, because I think I maybe watched like 2 or 3 of his videos. Tried to watch them and just really couldn't get into his style. That being said, though, I mean, demonizing the guy, costing him a portion of his livelihood, misleading people, and causing this big uproar is incredibly, incredibly irresponsible. And it's not surprisingly, a lot of the articles that were supporting what the Wall Street Journal said were from other large publications. These same people who, as we talk about, publish these outlandish stories. And I think this kind of illustrates the problem. Have you ever seen, I think it's a commercial for Febreze, where it talks about like nose blind, odors you've gone nose blind to, where it's like, if you're around a smell long enough, you won't smell it anymore, but other people will.
Right.
I think the same thing, we're seeing the same thing can happen with beliefs and biases. Now it seems that more people are realizing these people live in echo chambers. And here's the thing. If the Wall Street Journal or any of these other publications really, really have a problem with Nazis, like that's the thing they want to go after, great. Like we said, there are stupid, misled, angry, fearful people in the world that cling to that ideology, that support it. Focus on those groups. There are people... here in the United States and around the world that still believe that wear the symbols, that talk about it. Talk to those people, bring attention to them, try to correct the problem in that way. But like we said, it's this situation where it's really just getting out of control, and we're starting to realize that a lot of these publications, they are out of control, they're misleading people, and apparently, and we were just talking about this like right before we started recording, I did a Google search of PewDiePie and found out that on his Twitter page, he had apparently said that somebody from the Wall Street Journal had left a card or something at his door, or something, inviting him to come on and clear the air or talk about this or whatever. I don't know, man. What do you think about that?
it's probably Wall Street saying, like we talked about, they realized that, hey, man, we screwed up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's one beautiful thing to change somebody's mind is just the power of the internet. If you have enough supporters and stuff like that, they'll make you retract something very stupid that you've done in a hurry. So
Exactly. And the interesting thing too is they will say, oh, he had. They would say it is Nazi or anti-Semitic humor. Well, there are a lot of comedians, a lot of television shows, musicians, and things out there. You know, they make these types of jokes. They make them about all types of groups and serious situations, and even situations where a lot of people died and tragic situations. But it seems that not all of them get vilified. It seems that if you are aligned with a certain group of people, if you push a certain agenda, if you back them, you know, they'll be fine with you. They won't care what you do.
right.
But if you are not in their inner circle, if you do not live in the echo chamber with them, give them praise, take everything they say as gospel, then, you know, God help you. And
Right.
especially because they already have the word in their mind. Well, that kind of must make them a Nazi. And then it's like, okay, well, they see the guy dressed up like a Nazi. That's all they needed to know to run this article. No further research required, no looking into it, no concern about what if somebody who really has faith in our publication, which those numbers are probably dropping very quickly now, especially after what happened, but no thought about what happens if somebody sees this, believes it to be true, and goes and does something terrible to this guy. You know, they don't care, or at least it seemed they didn't at the time. Now, like we're saying, they've apparently, supposedly, from what we've read, tried to contact him. They're trying to apparently give him a chance to talk to them. And here's the interesting thing, and we talked about this. Even if they are delusional, even if they do seriously believe that this is a hateful individual, this is an individual that promotes anti-Semitism and these terrible ideologies and beliefs and things like that, they have to know that a huge amount of people don't agree with them on that, because those people
Right.
told them, you know, very clearly that their article was bunk, that they don't believe it, that it's nonsense. So if they do want to contact him, they cannot bring him on and be like, oh, here we have a real Nazi, a real anti-Semite in the studio. Let's get inside his twisted psyche. No. Even if they are delusional, they cannot do that and maintain any type of credibility at all. If they were going to bring him on, they would have to do it in a way where they would say, okay, we had a disagreement, let's hash it out this way. I don't know if he's going to do it. I don't know if anything else is going to develop from it, but it's really sad. Like we said, we're not huge fans of PewDiePie, but you hate to see somebody go through that, man. You absolutely, it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad, and I'll say one more thing. And if I was PewDiePie, you know, I wouldn't necessarily like go on and air it out. If I was PewDiePie, I'd be like, no, there's nothing else to discuss. There's nothing. No, you wrote a bogus article about me.
Right.
What I want you to do is publish an article apologizing to me.
Right.
That's what I want. If something new comes about, well, I guess we'll come and talk about it again, huh?
Yeah, we will touch back on it if anything new develops. In the meantime, the only thing I can say resulting from this is, if you see one of these articles or one of these headlines that seems shocking, it seems outlandish, I don't know when. You remember the Weekly World News, the magazine, where it was like the Bat Boy and like it was all these outlandish, obviously
Yeah.
fake stories where it's like an astronaut marries a mermaid on Mars, and you know, pictures of their wedding. I feel like that's what a lot of mainstream media outlets are becoming. So if you see an article from one of these news outlets, remember these people, they have their own biases. A lot of them live in echo chambers. Does this mean everything on their site is fake news? No. Does this mean everything on their site is misleading with an agenda behind it? No. You know, sure, they have points they want to get across, but when you see something like this that just leaps out, don't take it as gospel. Don't let these people be your gods. Do the research for yourself. Now we have the ability to look up things, and you don't have to know every single solitary detail about what happened with him, you know, all these things in the past. But there is information out there. You can find out exactly what points the article is addressing and decide for yourself whether or not you reach the same conclusion as they did.
Right, exactly. And as fellow YouTubers, PewDiePie, man, stay strong, dude. You're going to get through this, and I hate that this happened to you, man.
Exactly. Stay strong. It was awesome. He gave him the finger at the end of his video.
Yeah.
He handled it great, man. He did a great video. He seems like an awesome person. Seems very well spoken. may even apologize in this situation, even though a lot of people would say he's not in the wrong. But like we said, man, sorry this happened to you. Stay strong, and like we said, guys, if anything else develops with this, we will touch on it again.
All right, catch you guys later.